Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and we're taking a look at the 2023 film BlackBerry, which is loosely based on the book Losing the Signal, the untold story behind the extraordinary rise and spectacular fall of BlackBerry. Uh, I must admit, I was a big BlackBerry fanboy for a long time. The first time that I actually got to know about these devices was actually on the Oprah Winfrey show. The one that she gives away a lot of BlackBerry devices, which back then, of course, they were before Android and before iPhones. They were the big deal. Um, so this episode, I'm not sure when it was, maybe 2000 or something like that. But I remember her giving and everybody in the audience going wild with happiness. They were the rage. They were the big thing all around. I know even President Obama was like addicted to his phone, Crackberry. That's what they used to call it. So yeah, I wanted a phone since then. I read about the devices for a while, but they were always out of my price range until 2010. In 2009, I was supposed to get one, but from my previous organization, I was supposed to get a discount because we were working for the Vodafone process, and Vodafone had BlackBerry devices that they were giving along with SIM connections, but they didn't come true on the discount. Initially, it took a while for them to actually do it, and by then I had already bought my own device from a store nearby, and I was ecstatic. I loved the BlackBerry phones. I loved the physical keyboards, the QWERTY keyboards. I loved all that. I've had, I think, 3 or 4 BlackBerries from early 2010 till 2016 when I switched to Android, and I realized that BlackBerry is staggering way behind. There were some apps that I needed, that I wanted to use, and it was not supported on the BlackBerry at that time. Excuse me. Unless you got a BlackBerry device that ran on Android. Excuse me. But then it was too late. I realized the prices were also going up really high. I could buy an Android phone for half the price, and I switched to Android after that. But I'm still nostalgic. In my blog, in my website, I do have a lot of posts dedicated to BlackBerry, about my experiences, about unboxings and all those things. I love the BlackBerry phone, to be honest. It all went crashing down. So I'm telling you about my history with the phone. It's actually about the movie. So the movie is directed by, and it's a Canadian movie, fittingly enough, because it's a Canadian company, BlackBerry and in Research in Motion, basically. So it's directed by Matt Johnson, who also plays one of the co-founders, Douglas Freegan, and he is amazing in this. I've never seen or heard of him before. I'll have to check and see if I've actually watched anything that he was in. He's also directed 3 or 4 films, and it's amazing. And let me tell you that I've really become a fan of the guy. He does a fantastic job. Jay Baruchel plays the other co-founder, Mike Lazaridis, who handled the technical aspects of most of the film. He was co-CEO with Jim Balsillie, very controversial figure, who was an investor and who joined the company and demanded that he become CEO. Lazaridis tells him that with the investment that he's bringing in, he can become co-CEO along with him. So those are the 2 co-founders, Douglas Freegan and Mike Lazaridis, and the investor Jim Balsillie, who Lazaridis and Balsillie became the co-CEOs. And Jim Balsillie is this big, flashy guy. I mean, he travels in style, he dresses in suits. You get to see a lot of the BlackBerry guys, the engineers and all that. They were basically geeks, dorks, to be honest. They're into Star Trek, Star Wars. You see a little bit of that in the movie. They're into games. They have Friday movie night at the office. Fantastic. So, and from their humble beginnings, they went and became one of the biggest companies in the world in telecommunications, and then it all went down. So that's basically what the movie is all about. Like I mentioned, you've got Jay Baruchel, you've got uh, Matt Johnson, who, like I mentioned, directed the film, and also stars as Douglas Freegan. You've got an actor who, again, fantastic performance over here. I do not remember ever seeing this guy in anything else. Glenn Howerton, who's possibly the only American in this movie. Everybody else is Canadian, I believe, and he plays Jim Balsley. He does a fantastic job, and Jim Balsley is balding with no hair on top, uh, almost like mine. Mine is a little bit. I've got a little bit of hair on top, but yeah, the actor doesn't actually have that, so I don't know exactly how they did it. Doesn't look like it's a wig, but probably is. You've got Richard Summer, Michael Ironside, the man. Michael Ironside, of course, much older now, and he's bigger in size, of course. He's 73 years old, famous television and movie bad guy from movies like what was that, Total Recall, things like that. Fantastic actor. And he plays the guy who they bring to, put order in the chaos that happens in the office, Charles Purdy. So Ironside is absolutely amazing. Martin Donovan, who is an American actor who moved to Canada many years ago, and is a staple on Canadian television shows. A lot of Canadian shows that I have watched, he is in it. So he is, kind of plays always the kind of politician and money guy and all that. He plays the CEO of Palm Pilot, who tried to aggressively take over Research in Motion. Michelle Giroux plays Dara Frankel. Sun Won Cho plays Richie Chong. Mark Critch, who is a comedian. I've seen him in a lot of, a few skits here and there on the internet. Plus, he's got like small roles in several Canadian television shows. I watch a lot of Canadian television shows, if you haven't understood it by now. But sorry, Martin Donovan actually plays another character, I guess, and Mark Rich plays Gary Bettman. Now, if you don't know who Gary Bettman is the long-running president. What is he exactly? What is the role? He's a chairman of the NHL, a commissioner of the NHL. Very controversial guy, just like Jim Balsley, and they have a falling out because Jim Balsley famously tried to buy not one but I think two Pittsburgh Penguins and the Arizona Coyotes at different times, and he made some enemies in the NHL board. Saul Rubinek plays John Woodman, who was the head of AT&T, I believe, at that time. Carrie Hills plays Carl Yankowski. Sorry, he is the one who was heading Palm Pilot and tried to do a hostile takeover of BlackBerry, but yeah, it did not work. So Richard Summers plays Paul Sanos. Again, now towards the end, you get to see all the losses that they had, the little bit of financial what do you call it? He actually lied. Jim Balsley lied about some of the stock options, backdated it in order to get the best people in and pay them very handsomely. So a lot of legal options happened. He never served any time in jail, but he had to step aside as co-CEO initially in 2007, and then he left the company. Lazarus himself also resigned as CEO, and in 2012. Balsley avoided jail, of course. Freegan is the guy who I think left earlier. He left in 2007. He sold his stock in 2007, and that makes him one of the richest men in the world. And I believe he is not really in the limelight, business limelight or anything else anymore. He's kind of. So he does a little investment here and there. That's kind of it. But it's actually very sad to see about the fact that this is a company that I really associated myself with. I was completely there's no other brand that I've actually considered myself to be a fanboy. Like a lot of people are into iPhones. I know that's kind of very popular. I was bigger into BlackBerry than they were. So, yeah. Anyway, that's a few things that I want to say about this film. I'm already at the 10-minute mark. Uh, yeah, you can see this movie. I highly recommend it. I think there's a little buzz about Oscar and the Golden Globe nominations, perhaps. Maybe for one of the three main characters, that's actors played by Matt Johnson, Glenn Howerton, and Jay Baruchel. So I do hope they get something in terms of that recognition. The movie is made on a budget of $5 million. It only made $2.6 million in the box office. To support them on streaming services, I give it an 8 out of 10. Thank you.